So I can't remember what I said in the last one, but the obvious social impact of Akudim is communism, where we all become one. And the real problem of communism is like the state, quote unquote, distributes evenly, supposedly, the assets. So everyone's in the same clean, and everyone gets. So there's a huge amount of power that is concentrated in a small place, and with that level of power usually comes corruption. Now, communism, as we know it today, Marxism, Trotsky and Marx were both Jewish, and really stems from every Jew has this great desire for oneness with Hashem and oneness in reality. And it seems great because there's also, this is a side point, the connection to Noach is that this is what the Dor Flaga tried to do, the Tower of Babel. Everyone was one, and God said, "No way, man." And it's like, what exactly was what did they do wrong? It seems like it was all a good idea. They were one, they spoke one, they had one idea. The Netziv said that they had one thought, that they weren't allowed to think otherwise, which is echoes of 1984. But the Kitzer, if the evolution of creation stopped at a Kudim and we're all in one Kli, so then it'd be fantastic. But it continued to put everything in its own Kli, which is Kudim. So there's a deeper desire than a Kudim for reality, and therefore everybody has their own individuality and their own individual desires, and therefore when you try to bind up the individual, they'll always try to rebel. So communism can never stay, because even if they like the idea, in practice, the individualism will always come to the top. So then you have the next response, which is capitalism, which is I've got my shali shali v'shalcha shalcha, and a lot of the social or political movements at the moment is really a backlash against capitalism as it is today, where shali or shalcha is too much and shali isn't enough, and therefore things aren't working, and you have all the big companies, Amazon, Google, Apple, they don't pay the taxes because they found ways to say they don't have to, and there's no kind of moral intercorrelation to say that, I'm in your country, I'm using your goods, I'm using your roads, I should say Amazon contributes tremendous amounts of pollution with all their deliveries, but they don't. But it's not like, well, I need all you people, etc., for my success. Even that is still in the level of selfishness. But as long as I don't have to, as long as you can't force me to pay, then I'm just going to take care of myself, and I'm not going to pay anything that I don't have to. And here's the wages, and if they're very low, well, don't take them. I'll find someone that will. So there's a kind of lack of interpersonal care, and so that's in a Kudim. I'm going to win and you're going to lose. And then you have what's called Shavir Sakalim, which is kind of an idea of the financial crash, 2008, where everyone's just kind of taking for themselves, and therefore, and then when it fails, so it's just it can't continue in that way. So everyone's killing each other. And then you have so what people try to do when capitalism fails is go back to communism, which is completely the wrong solution. And all that, so you just get into a circle, capitalism to communism to capitalism to communism, because it's not working. But the real way for it to work is the Berudim, where you, even though you're making for yourself, you make sure that everyone else is taken care of as well. Um, Now again, you have it in a marriage. If you have many spouses or threatened by the success of their spouse, which is marriage of a Nukudim, and that doesn't work for obvious reasons. Because as soon as anyone gets a success and gets their own self-worth and self-value, that goes away from the other person. So then they feel threatened, and then there's whole fights. So real marriage has to be in the level of berudim, where you're mutually in it together. And you'll see basically all over these type of ideas and different structures and different parts of different arguments. Sometimes you're on for yourself, and then sometimes you're on for everybody, and sometimes but these structures permeate the whole of life. And you see with Yaakov, he was the Kava Emsoi, he was Tiferes, so he was able to bring all these together because he wasn't on the extremes. He was able to bring them all together. So that's why. So firstly, Abraham was Chesed, which is on the right. So he had Pasul Zera. Yitzchak was Gevura. That's on the left. He had Pasul Zera, i.e. Esav. But then Yaakov was in the middle, which is Tiferes. So there was no Pasul Zera because there's room for everybody. There's room for you. There's room for you. There's room for you. Everything is included in Yaakov. Therefore, none of his kids are going off the derech, and that's why he was the one who was able to do the Nakudim, Berudim, and Nakudim with the sheep. The other Avos weren't. But you can never get to Yaakov. You can't jump to Yaakov. You have to go through Abraham and Yitzhak first, and then because it's not like it's not like chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. I'll just pick strawberry. The strawberry comes through the chocolate and vanilla, so the mashal doesn't really work. But the Tiferes of Yaakov has to come through the Chesed and then the Gevur and then into this. So the first you have the Yakudim, then the Nukudim, then the Brudim. You can't jump straight into Brudim.